Remember this gem, Betrayal at House on the Hill, a strategy game by Bruce Glasses, 2nd edition, published by Avalon Hill, a game for 3 to 6 players with their playing time being 1 hour for ages 12 and up? I remember, and I have fond memories playing this game because it has a very breezy rule set. It has the survival guide, the Trader's Tome, a bunch of character boards with different stats like speed, might, sanity, and knowledge that are double-sided so you can choose different versions of the same character, and comes with a whole host of trackers and tokens that you may or may not use when you play this specific session, because no 2 games of Betrayal are really the same. You have a bunch of room tiles that are spread out across 3 categories, upper, ground, and basement, and you'll place your main tile down while your heroes navigate this lay tiles as you go. Sprawling mansion, you will draw event or omen cards, or perhaps have to pass some kind of challenge to get through the room for the first time or every time you go through it. You might even get helpful items, like the revolver. Events like the Lost One can hurt your character in some way. Draw specific room tiles and place them in specific places, or take existing room tiles and move them. While omen cards are kind of a mixture of both of those things, and can change the way that your player is able to even play the game, like the skull. If you take mental damage, you can take all of it as physical damage instead. Every time you get an omen, you make what is called a haunt roll. And once your haunt roll no longer beats the amount of omens in play, the betrayal begins. The rules are very simple, but once the betrayal begins, which is referred to as the haunt scenario, the specific omen that you found and the room in which you found it will determine which scenario you're going to play. And this is where the game completely changes. It takes the groundwork that you've laid out so far with everybody building up their characters and getting their different items and their different abilities and their different stats and having the entire map mostly laid out by this point in the game, and gives you a new set of win conditions and lose conditions and special mechanics. And when I say no 2 games are the same, I mean it. All of the different scenarios have vastly different gameplay mechanics and flows. And you've seen the title of the video, you know that we're going to see if Betrayal at House on the Hill will HeroQuest. I'm sorry, I didn't ask if Betrayal at House on the Hill would HeroQuest. I asked if Betrayal would HeroQuest, but I was referring to Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. This is, of course, based on the award-winning board game Betrayal at House on the Hill, and it is a fantastic game. But Betrayal at Baldur's Gate brings things into the not medieval, the Dark Ages. No, that's not right either. The Age of Sigmar. Well, that's the wrong franchise. This brings things into an area, context in which HeroQuest can thrive. So let's see what this edition of Betrayal would bring to the HeroQuest table. The inside of the box is the exact same. Blow-molded plastic keeps the exact same components in place, but now everything has been recontextualized. Where before we had 6 unassuming human characters able to just traipse through a mansion, we now have 6 D&D based characters. From a halfling to a wizard whose staff is very crooked. It happens to us all. To a lovely drow. Full-color figurines, you don't have to paint these, they come pre-colored. To a dwarf, which is the best thing about Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. To, is this a paladin orc? Whatever. To a human. I know that you know the same guy, but I know a guy, or knew a guy. You could give him a game with the most fantastical fantasy races, and you could say, what do you want to be? Choose your race. We have all of them. We can do elves, dwarves, we can do orcs, goblins. There are halflings, giants, gargoyles, and he'd pick human every time. He's like, oh, I think I'll be a human. And you're like, are you sure? Just to break in here real quick, one of the best ways to support the channel is through the Patreon. Not for nothing. I've got all kinds of quests. I've got posts. I've got videos on the back end. There's even a year-long merch loyalty program. Subscribe and you'll get merch every 3 months. You can get this lovely Nilbog mini print, this AshQuest mini print, this amazing AshQuest mug, which has the AshQuest shield on one side and Nilbog in goblin mode on the other. And at the end of the year, a t-shirt commemorating your survival. Thank you for your consideration. Back to the video. And he's like, I'm going to be a human. I'm the human ranger, whatever. Like, that's really boring. Everybody else in the party is playing like a tiefling or a zombie. I'll be a human. No, you know what? You're not allowed to be a human. You are now going to be a werebeast. You're going to be a were-ferret. We're going to homebrew it. You change into a ferret by the light of the full moon. Our starting tile has been replaced with the beautiful Elf Song Tavern. That's right, if you have frequented Baldur's Gate in the past, and not the contemporary Baldur's Gate 3, but any of the previous games, because this game came out, I think this game came out before Baldur's Gate to Baldur's Gate 3. I actually don't know, and I can't be bothered to verify that right now. But I tell you what, whether or not it did or didn't, I would replace these miniatures with Baldur's Gate 3 miniatures in a heartbeat if any good Baldur's Gate 3 miniatures existed. Oh, but Ash, they do exist. I said good. And I would replace these character boards immediately with artwork from those characters because it would be so awesome to have like Shadowheart and Karlach go through here and betray one another. Oh, it wasn't an Orc Paladin. It was a half-Orc Paladin. I was half right. Torskar Stonecleaver. We again have different versions of the characters, different ages, different classes, different starting might, sanity, knowledge, and so on. And it matters because these aren't just like static meters that are the same thing every time. The sanity for Torskar Stonecleaver, the dwarf barbarian at age 130, ranges from 7 down to 2. It starts at 3, and there are 2 slots of 2. So as your sanity lowers, your sanity may not actually lower, if you know what I mean. But the other side has 3 slots of 3, which means that with a starting point of 4, the sanity over here is much, much better than that of the sanity of Torskar. This is Aldan Pyrite. However, there are trade-offs to this, either in the knowledge, might, or speed areas. So this has been well thought out, and this is a part of Betrayal's awesome, balanced gameplay. Nevertheless, we are not really here to do a full-on reveal of everything to do with Baldur's Gate. We are here to determine whether or not this would HeroQuest. And as for the minis, well, I mean, it could bother you greatly about the minis. I'm going to say no, because while they technically can be placed on the board and move with movement dice and all of that, the scale is entirely different from that of the HeroQuest miniatures. These are like 25 millimeter. They're not scale. They're not really scale. They're just game pieces, if that makes sense, because sometimes you can just create stuff and it's not scale. We're going to say no because they're going to look really bad on your board, but if you did come across some 32 millimeter Baldur's Gate miniatures, Baldur's Gate 3, good ones, not the whiz kids, you could definitely use those in place of both games. Okay, so tokens. We have a lot of tokens. The tokens in Baldur's Gate are extremely situational because most of them are not used in your game session. You're only going to use like a subset of them, like this quest 1, quest 4, quest, or these tokens that will represent different creatures that will only apply to certain haunt scenarios. So it's a real mixed bag of tokens. They're all here to represent different things for the different scenarios. They're not all here to be used all at the same time. And some of them have different uses. Some of them actually have variable uses depending on the haunt scenario. That said, with tokens like Ballista, which are just squares that say what they are, and Obstacle, I'm here to tell you that's going to look really silly on your board. You're probably not going to want to use tiles that are being used to proxy something else, but it's obviously a placeholder proxy, like a default asset, like a mannequin character you bring into your video game because you don't have the hero animations done and you don't have your villain character done. We're going to say no. We're just going to say no to the tiles, the tokens. We're going to go to the cards next. The game does have cards, and it is here where we will find a lot of our inspiration. We have a lot of event cards that are themed specifically to this game. I'm holding the deck upside down, but you know, it's fine. We can just pretend these are Teneve cards instead. Okay, we have those. We have some cards that will go out to all of the players to remind them of the turn order and the gameplay flow. That's fine. We have item cards. Well, we actually have a few of those. And then we have omen cards, and these are all really specific to Betrayal at House on the Hill. I'm just going to say no, but we will go ahead and say, what if you did apply this stuff to HeroQuest? It's a completely different game. We're wasting our time here, obviously, even trying. Chainmail. Nothing saves your own skin like a skin of metal. Anytime you take physical damage, take 1 less point of damage. This item can't be stolen. This card would actually HeroQuest. This is fine, actually. HeroQuest has Chainmail. I don't want to replace the Chainmail that's in HeroQuest, but this actually provides you with a practical armor resource. That's crazy. Let's go on to the next one. Locket. A memento of love on a thin gold chain. Gain 1 sanity. Anytime you take mental damage, take 1 less point of damage. Lose 1 sanity if you lose control of the locket. So I think that we're not there at the other yet, but we'll go ahead and skip down to the other, and we'll talk about these character boards replacing the HeroQuest character boards, which we don't really have character boards. We have cards with stats on them. Speed is something that could really be like your movement on your turn. It could just be a hard number rather than you having to roll dice, or you could go ahead and have your players roll 1 movement die and then add whatever is going on here. So the dwarf is at a 4, so whatever you roll on your 1d6, and then roll for movement. Now, Betrayal doesn't work the same way. They have d6 dice, but they're blank face, 1-1, and 2-2 on the faces. And it has to be that way because of the haunt rolls that are made and the odds of the collected omens outnumbering or not outnumbering the total that you roll. Speed's kind of up in the air. Might could go ahead and refer to attack dice. Sanity could refer to mind points, as well as knowledge, or maybe one or the other refers to mind points. You'd have to introduce an entirely different mechanic that would make the other stat relevant. And so you'd have to do some homebrewing. And I'm going to say, as far as other goes, that's outright a no. But this does make me wonder, if we had these sort of hero boards in HeroQuest, we could use the might as maybe body points. I don't know. We'd have to do some kind of thinking, some tinkering to determine attack versus body point, because you do see how the scale changes. And as this gets down to like a 2, well, if you lose one more, it's going to be skull. You're dead. So it could be your defense roll as well. But I really wish there was another physical trait on here to split up and kind of share the responsibility of bearing body point, attack, and defense, rather than just everything being on might, because it doesn't make any sense to distribute any of those other things to sanity or knowledge, and speed really seems like it's its own category. So I'm just going to say no. It would take a lot of effort to fundamentally change the way that the game is played. But I do like the idea of a board like this being applied to HeroQuest characters, because I'm tired of looking at the dwarf. Let's look at this cute halfling rogue, 175 years old. This is Tasha Brightbottle. You'll have to let me know if these are characters. Oh, Gretchen Titchwillow. These are characters from D&D. I know Gretchen. I know Gretchen. I have her Magic the Gathering card also. I don't know what she's from, though. I just know that she exists. So now I have Tasha Brightbottle that I can look up and and see if she has a Magic the Gathering card. And Leafane Tlabar, Avrixis Mizram. I don't know who they are, but I do like Drow. Interesting. Okay, I wasn't exactly sure whether or not these were like pre-existing D&D characters. I don't know that I knew Gretchen when I first got this and opened the box. Anyways, I do like the idea of, as you lose points in different categories, then the kinds of rolls that you make with those are affected. I think that that's a cool mechanic to have. So we were on the cards. So we're going to go back up to the cards category now. We have caltrops. During your turn, you can spread the caltrops out by placing this item card on a tile you're on. While this card is on a tile, any adventurer, monster, or NPC that enters the tile must succeed at a speed +4 roll or take 1 point of physical damage. A polite way of telling someone to stop following you around. I like these caltrops. Each time a character takes damage in this way, roll a die. If the result is 0, discard this card. I guess the caltrop gets lodged into the character's boot, and now they walk away and it goes with them, and they don't even know because it's a part of the boot that doesn't really touch their soul. Anyway, you have other ones like Cloak of the Bat. Once during any turn, when you take physical damage, you may attempt a speed 3+ roll. If you succeed, you take 1 less point of damage and may immediately move 1 space away. You cannot discover a new tile with this movement. They make sense, and you actually don't have to do a lot of what I call translating to make them fit, which is kind of weird. They are going to refer to those stats, though, so the ones that refer to the stats you'd have to drop unless you're going to incorporate the same stats into your game. Next up, we have the Omen cards, and they give you things like the Berserker Axe. This axe was made to kill. It just needs you to help it fulfill its destiny. You roll 2 additional dice, maximum of 8, when making a might attack with this weapon, or an attack. If you are on a tile with 1 or more opponents, you cannot leave that tile unless you first attack an opponent with this weapon. You can't use another weapon while you're using this one. This omen can't be dropped or traded, but it can be stolen. So that's going to require some translating or some finagling. You can say instead of tile, because you can have multiple characters on a tile or a room in Betrayal, because this is basically 1 space, and then an adjoining tile would be another space. So your movement, if you have a movement of 1, you're going to go 1, and that's how you're going to do that. If you have a movement of 2, you'd move through the connected door symbols on the tiles, and you go 1, 2. This is horrifying. Shrine to Baal, Sacrificial Chamber, and then a Smuggler's Drop. So basically, the cards are going to be a no. I mean, there's some stuff here that will work, and you might be tempted to get inspired and start making your own stuff, but I feel like the direction that you might take this typically is going to be pretty far and away from the HeroQuest rule set. I do love the idea of Betrayal being set in Baldur's Gate, and that's kind of why I really wanted to unbox this and show it off, and I thought that the best way to do that would be through this Will It HeroQuest, but the thing that I was looking forward to the most was going through and showing you that we have catacomb tiles, we have building tiles, and we have street tiles. And these are pretty much tiles that replace the whole upper floor, ground floor, then basement tiles of Betrayal. It's the same concept, but it's recontextualized. So we're going to look at a few of these now and try to determine if any of these would be of any use. We'll go ahead and travel through the streets before we do anything. Okay, so our first street tile is the watch post, and landing on this tile or revealing it and then moving into it, or maybe just revealing it, would actually get you the event. I don't know why I'm making that vague. You move into it at the same time you reveal it, and then you draw an event card. Go again, and you'll end up at the Gray Harbor. You can exit from here to the Catacomb Landing. So you do have ways to travel between entry and exit points of the different floors, just like you would if you were playing the upper floor, ground floor, basement floor convention of the original Betrayal. The Executioner's Block, the Rose Portal, the Fountain. Once per game, if you end your turn here, gain 1 sanity. The Waterfront, the Dead End, the Murder Row, the Haunted Alley. I like all of them. I think they're highly thematic. They're really cool. Hey, it's an Easter egg. Minsk and Boo were here. This is the beloved Ranger statue. Next up, we'll take a look at the building category. We have the Mansion, the Hall of Wonders, the House of Blood, the Weapon Shop, the Trading Post, the Smithy, Philogir's Fireworks, the Temple of Umberlee, Underwear. What is this? What does this symbol mean? Does this mean you can park here? I'm sure the symbol is baked into this tile for a specific reason. Like the catacombs entrance, perhaps. The Shrine to Gargoth. The Warehouse. The Storehouse. I love this one. Sorceress Sundries. Finally, we'll take a look at the catacomb tiles. What dungeons are we about to attempt? The Rat's Nest. If you end your turn here, take 1 point of physical damage. The Gladiator Pit. The Flooded Chamber. The Dusty Cellar. The Arcane Retreat. The Assassin's Run, I love that. The Forgotten Cache. The Weapon Shop Basement. The Shrine to Baal, we looked at that. The Vacated Shop. The Kobold Hideout. The Beast's Lair, the Neglected Shrine. So there's a lot going on in every single one of these rooms, but your heroes would be moving from room to room, and I don't really know if you have any sort of capacity to consider these dungeon tiles, and you definitely don't want to separate them up into groups of 4, because then the passages don't seem to make a lot of sense unless you want to say if you're here, then you're able to travel through this door or this door. That would probably be fine. You definitely can't go 9, though. There's no way to do 9. There's no way to do 3 by 3. I'm going to say I don't like these tiles as HeroQuest homebrew tiles, but I think that they're lovely tiles. I think that they could be used for other things. Homebrewing something else, and maybe you could do an in-between quest section where the heroes are going through a city. This need not definitely always be Baldur's Gate. This can definitely be a city. You can use just the building tiles to have your heroes explore a mansion in between the quest, or go through catacombs trying to escape the dungeon that they were just in, or you can have them travel through the streets of a city, and the encounters that they encounter therein will be encounterable encounters that they encounterally. I don't know what you want from me. All these guys should probably go down here. Either that or the dice. I think it's the miniatures though. That's all 6. Kudos to the creators of Betrayal for having, I don't know who created this actually. It doesn't have the same credits on the box as the original. Who made this? Whose idea was this? Designed by Mike Merrills, who was the lead. Chris Tupis, Adam Lee, Ben Petrosor. Kudos to you guys for designing this and keeping this stuff Betrayal-esque while applying a D&D skin to it. I would like to go through the Trader's Tome and Secrets of Survival. The Secrets of Survival is the guide that all of the good guy players get, the ones who didn't reveal the haunt. The Trader's Tome is the one who goes to the trader who did reveal the haunt after making or failing the haunt roll. We don't have much of a board to really look at. We have the tiles. The dice are just 0, 1, and 2. I'm going to say the dice don't HeroQuest because it would be really, really difficult to figure out what existing mechanic in the game would be able to make use of that die type. But it doesn't mean that you couldn't homebrew, a spell, and now you have this sort of attack or something that will connect and it will definitely deal whatever you have rolled. Or you can go ahead and roll these and just risk that each of the faces with pips equals a skull. So this is 2 skulls. You have a capacity to roll 4 skulls, 0 to 4 by rolling these 2 dice. You have a 1 in 9 chance of rolling a 4, and then the monsters can roll regular combat dice to defend against that. But I do want to go through one of these to kind of give you an illustration of what the quest is like, what the scenario is like. So here's your table, and if you trigger the haunt by discovering the Berserker Axe, for example, in the Arcane Retreat, then you're going to play scenario 12. If it was the Iron Flask of Tyranny and you discovered this in the Haunted Alley, then that's going to net you scenario 13. Whereas if you found the Whispering Skull in the Shrine to Baal, that's going to take you to scenario 36. And this is how you determine what the actual scenario is going to be. Now, I said person who fails the haunt roll, but there is a completely different methodology to determining who the traitor is going to be. So for scenario 36, it's going to be none yet see Secrets of Survival. So this is how some of these quests can play out. Let's go ahead and spoil 36. And 36, Haunt 36 in Betrayal at Baldur's Gate is called the Big Score. So we're pretty much done with all of the rest of the video components for now, except for the rating. But we won't open up the Traitor's Tome. We'll just read the Big Score, which takes place on just one page. It's a very, very simple thing. So if you were wondering about whether or not a game like this would be the game for you, then stay tuned. I'm going to show you. The Big Score. You are all hunting for the Star of Thay, a gem of enormous value. Whoever can find the gem and get it to a waiting fence, at the marketplace, can sell it to score mounds of shiny gold. A fence is a person who is going to take that item, give you money for it, and then distribute it in the black market. You don't know them, they don't know you, but you're going to get the money and they're going to take off. Right now, get the square Star of Thay token and place it near the board. Play begins to the Haunt Revealer's left. What you know. Everyone starts out as heroes hunting for the Star of Thay. Find it first and you can reap the monetary rewards, but be careful. You also become a target as all the other heroes want the same thing. How to search for the Star of Thay. On your turn, you may attempt a knowledge roll or a speed roll of 7+ while on an item tile on the catacomb level. Before you roll, you may ask other heroes on your tile to help you. For each one who agrees, decrease the difficulty of the roll by 1. If you succeed, you and each hero who helped you must attempt a speed roll, re-rolling ties. Whoever wins takes control of the Star of Thay token and becomes the traitor. They read the rules for this haunt in the Traitor's Tome. Everyone else who participated gains 1 speed and 1 might. Greed, it seems, is a powerful motivator. Don't read beyond this point until the Star of Thay token has been found. So we will now read the Secrets of Survival, which is going to be the general populace, and not the traitor who has to take their tome into the next room and read theirs while the heroes discuss what their strategy is going to be to win. Because Betrayal at Baldur's Gate can very quickly become one of several win condition game modes, either a one versus many, or multiple players can win, or everybody has to get out alive. Here's what you know about the traitor. They have the Star of Thay and they're trying to sell it at the marketplace street tile. Before they do, you must hunt down the traitor and steal the Star of Thay so that you can sell it first. The Star of Thay is treated like an item and can be stolen, dropped, or traded. If you successfully steal the Star of Thay, you become the traitor. Take the traitor's tome and follow all instructions for this haunt. You can win only as the traitor or if you are the last adventurer alive. If you do win, the Star of Thay is even more wondrous than the tales say, and now you have it in your grubby mitts. Inconceivable. All of this to say that this game formula, this convention, this design, this really makes for a pretty fun party experience. If you have 4 players, I think that is the perfect amount of players to play any Betrayal game, be it Betrayal at Baldur's Gate or the original Betrayal at House on the Hill, the hill where Sir Ragnar lives. But as usual, we have to give this a score. And I'm going to say that actually, while I usually try to do something relatively witty here, relatively as in I'm never witty, this isn't going to HeroQuest. It's not a HeroQuest, but I hope you enjoyed the unboxing and the overview of Betrayal at Baldur's Gate regardless, and I hope it is something that you'll consider, especially if you loved the original Betrayal at House on the Hill. It's a different flavor of haunts and quests and so on, but there is the chance of a beholder coming down to behold everybody. Or you could have mind flayers. There's 50 scenarios in here. And if you ever reveal a haunt that you've already played, you can always go to the next number up. Anyway, thank you all very much, brave adventurers, for your kind attention. I will see you in the next exciting adventure. Until then, I have this box lid upside down. Onward for now.